some of these to finish off. The net down the other end, so that's not finished yet. I've got 3 boxes, so that should be plenty. On the way down to show you the lower olive grove, what's growing in the new raised beds down there. So here are the 2 raised beds I haven't grown in before, and this is where I'm talking about. I need to use the clips to attach all the loose bits here, and also when I find a piece of net big enough to come from the back here, attach it with clips to each side and then flap it over to cover this area. So this is why for now I've just laid this net on top, because they're not protected. I do have some bottles over the newly planted items. It was an old delivery bag of sand. This is what these are in here. Mike's made a wood pallet frame to go round them, exact size. And as you know, we don't use screws or nails. We use old pieces of wire. So this one is broccoli that was in the bottle farm. This one is broccoli from the bottle farm. There's quite a lot of it. And then this one, I thought I was shaking in seeds I had from broccoli, but as I shook them in, I saw my jar said cauliflower, but that's okay. They are segregated, so that's okay. So that's that one. And then this one, as you see, I use pegs, but I want to use those clips. This one does have the cover, and it just needs the bit that I wanted from the top overhanging. It is there, but it needs pinning when I'm not accessing it, so that needs completing. And this is the plug plants, my first and only plug plants. I'm not a lover of plug plants. I like to say I've grown everything myself, but I just wanted to make a comparison, plug plants versus growing naturally. So this is the plug plants, and then right now I don't have anything in that one. And as you can see, this is really going to be brassicas, both of these, which is, we're down in the lower olive grove, so it doesn't look ugly in the garden, to make these forms of frugal, no cost protection for the garden. So down here will also be, because this is one of the furthest points from the house, it means I haven't got to come and keep checking on things such as brassicas, or something that will get on by themselves, and all I will need to do is harvest, because they're protected from caterpillars, butterflies, and that's why I'm now growing these down here. And this is where you always see my potatoes now growing. So do go and look out for these sand delivery type bags. These are the ones that are lifted off with a crane from the delivery trucks, and they make awesome areas to grow in. You don't necessarily need to build a frame, but it's a good idea if you're able to get some free pallet wood or make something yourself. So that's what's growing in the lower olive grove. We are going to be doing some more beds down here like this, and that is because we have space here. When we first came here, we wondered why we have rows of olives here, double rows, and nothing here. And the man said, well, because this is on the mountainside, he's tried growing in this line where there's nothing, and he said you will not be able to grow anything there. So yet another good reason for raised growing beds. So this almond tree here is actually an offsprout of this almond tree here. And this is what the almond trees do. They actually put runners under the ground and pop out new trees. There were a few more that had come over this way over here, but I only want one more over here. So this is a new almond tree, and so now we have 3 almond trees. This is the one it sprouted off of. And this one here is one when we first came here that was also sprouts off of another almond tree. And it's good to let that happen, because obviously you've got fresh new young trees. Trees only last a certain amount of years, so it's always good to start again with a fresh tree. This is normally full in the winter, where I store all my plastic bottles and growing pots, everything like that. And under this blue here is old cat food bags, all piled up and squashed under there. And my aim today is to fill them all up, and I'll show you where they're going. Bearings, this is where the bottle farm is, and the rabbit cages. These are the 2 grapevines to go out when Mike's finished making the bags. And the rabbit cages is where I'm going to put the cat food bags. A little bit like I've already done here. I've got old bags that I can grow in. So I will stand the cat food bags up in these, and now is the time I can actually sow outside. So this hopefully will be full of cat bags that I can then shut the rabbit cage down and protect from any butterflies. Probably going to plant some more zucchini types out here. Maybe some other things in these raised beds. That's the tomatoes I planted out the other day. Now you can see Mr. Bean has gone and been planted in a Hugelkultur bed. And I'm thinking about planting Mrs. Bean and Baby Bean as well today. They're not half as big, but let's see if that works before they've matured too much. There are roots already showing under this one anyway, so I think these can go. As I say, these aren't even close to being as big as Mr. Bean was, but I'm going to try and plant those out today. More planting outside in the raised beds and other areas. So this is all clear. There's one transplanted zucchini there that was in a cup, so I've just transplanted it to that. And there's one small watermelon left, so I've left that one indoors. And you can see Fossil is now enjoying the platform. Yes. And we had 2 tomatoes growing in these. We had 2 growing here, and they've been transplanted into big pots en masse. Obviously the 2 beans went from here, the 2 smaller beans. Haven't taken anything else from this area because these are all newly sown. Oh, and the green spinach, there was a green spinach down here, that's gone out. This chive has now gone in a big pot because the roots are coming from a round pot. Haven't done anything else there. the sweet yellow melons have gone that were really coming out the top. I've transplanted those. Quite a few lettuce have gone. Here this was clear because I'd planted the plug plants that were here the other day, and I've now transplanted out the rosa lettuce and the green lettuce that was here. But here I've done an experiment planting out with different methods of rooting. These are from the yellow plum tree that I have. So I thought I'd experiment. I'd cut them all exactly the same way. And then these ones I dipped into honey, which is supposed to get rid of any germs or infection if you haven't cleaned your secateurs before making cuttings. And then these ones I dipped in proper rooting compound. So we'll see if there's a difference at all. I'm not expecting a difference, but we'll see how many take from there. I've changed this area around. I've taken the lettuce that was here and planted it out, and now these are the parsley that were on the ground there. Now put those there, and there's quite a lot of basil gone from here, so that's been transplanted out. So let me show you what's planted where. This is just temporary because I was so concerned about Mr. Bean suddenly being outside, and he's too tall to cover, so I've just wrapped some net round him so he can acclimatise, so it doesn't have to be perfectly covered as long as he's got some protection. He's been here 2 days now. Yes, 2 days now, so he doesn't look like he's in stress. Which is good. And then that's where I planted 3 other beans. Now they're small, but I thought, well, let's see the comparison planting them out small. And that's a ghost house for the ghost bean. The yellow plum tree where I took the cuttings from, and I want to grow this in a V shape, so we have the main stem here, and then this is the bit I took the cuttings off of. I do want to keep that as a V, but obviously there was a lot. You can see I've been snipping from the bottom here, and I cut all those ones off. I've still left a few more though that should come off, but I want it to rest. So we'll see if they take. This is a yellow plum, and we do have a purple plum as well. So don't forget, you only need 1 seed or 1 cutting to grow from. As you can see, the stone table is now empty, apart from some basil. That was absolutely covered in different types of zucchini. So that's all been transplanted out now. So here is all the different types of zucchini, and I've tried to keep the same types together just to have a comparison. Doesn't of course matter if they all got mixed up. You just harvest what's there. But for now, we'll see what does better. We'll see if the first ones that came up from seed are the more predominant ones or not. So some are covered. The ones that have been out here a while now are not covered. But I always like to just cover to let them establish. This is where I've planted those sweet yellow melons that are all coming out of a big bottle, and I just cut the bottle open, push them in as is, or some things I just tip out, and then as I put them in the ground I literally press them apart. So this is the one bottle, as you can see they're pushed apart a bit, So they've got growing room, and then this end, this is where the watermelons have gone from indoors. So they would definitely need to be covered because they've only been indoors. And then here where I've got last year's peppers and onions, I've planted some lettuce because remember now this is going to be my kitchen garden, this area of raised beds. I do have another area of raised beds. So this is going to be my kitchen garden. These are all green lettuce. And then here we have the big bowl of rosa lettuce that was on the bar. And then here, I don't really know what to grow in this aubergine bed. This aubergine's just been here for years, so I'm leaving it. So I thought, well, I will put, so I've got so much basil, let's put some basil here. And that's next to the rocket, which is in seed mode. And then we've got the cucumbers in the big tub. And I've just planted out more tomatoes in this raised bed. And they seem to be doing quite well there, keeping it quite mulchy mushy. And of course, before you plant anything, water it first. Water the bed you're putting it in, and then when you put it in, just give it another sprinkle of water on top. And for me, that ensures the roots really want to travel. So that's a little update for now, and check out the progress in another video. Until next time, Meraki.